If you have broken generational cycles, done a bit of identity work, and you've built your purpose-led brand, and you find that your old patterns of needing validation or being a busy bee, spreading yourself thin when you know better, or even you might find yourself in that old pattern of avoiding conflict, and these things show up every time you go to push through to your next level, this episode is for you. By the end of today's episode, you will understand why this keeps showing up as you go from glory to glory. So as you go higher and higher, and why this is not, a sign that the work isn't working, and what to do when you're met with these moments when your old patterns show up. There is a lie embedded in most of Christian identity and even healing conversations that is costing faith-led, high-achieving women the very edges that they were actually meant to move through, okay? And the lie is that once you get saved and once you do enough work, enough prayer, enough fasting, that the good girl will just go away. That there is an actual finish line, that the woman on the other side of deliverance, on the other side of healing, is a woman who is unbothered, unshaken, and untouchable, okay, by the old pattern. So when the old pattern shows up again, when you are on the edge of something new, and the thoughts come back asking, why would they choose you? Why should I even bother? And you find yourself doing one of two things. You either push through it quietly and silently shaming yourself, okay? Thinking that you should have been there by now, or you end up pulling back from the edge entirely and you call it wisdom. Neither of these things is the truth, and both of these are expensive. The good girl does not go away. She simply morphs, okay? And every new level of elevation has its own version of her waiting at the door. And the woman who understands that, right? She doesn't end up stopping at the threshold. You end up naming what you are meeting, and you end up moving through it anyway. So I want to tell you about something that happened to me just this past Tuesday, because I think it is the most honest thing that I can offer you in this video. So presently, like right now, I am in the middle of delivering Undignified. It's a 5-day experience that it's built around naming and burying the good girl. Okay, so I have been preparing and teaching this material for weeks. Okay, and so I know her MO. Okay, so on Tuesday, an opportunity came across my desk, and it genuinely intrigued me. Okay, it was something that honestly felt aligned, and again, it just piqued my interest. Okay. And the moment that I went to go learn more about putting my name into the hat for this, the thoughts came. Why should I bother? Why would anyone choose me? And I want to tell you what it actually felt like in my body, because this is really where it matters. It honestly felt like a siege, okay? I was overcome with a plethora of emotions. My heart rate picked up. My body was buzzing. Tears began to fill my eyes, okay? My nervous system was legit overloaded in this moment, okay? It was firing, just all cylinders go, honey, okay? Because I was meeting another new edge. And even through that, even through the buzzing, even through the doubt, even through the tears, I had to remind myself out loud that I am safe, that I can do big things and still be okay, that it's safe for me to expand, that it is safe for me to meet a new edge of myself, right? And so I moved through. But I want to be really clear. It wasn't cute at all, okay? It was not comfortable, and it also was not a sign that the work I had been doing, that it wasn't working. It was actually a sign that I'm still growing, that I am still taking new territory, that my capacity to receive is increasing, and growth always meets resistance at the new edge. The good girl reared her head up, honey, okay? At my desk on Tuesday, while I was actively teaching women how to bury her. That in itself is not a contradiction. It's simply just how this works, because the pattern doesn't disappear. She shows up at every new threshold with a more sophisticated argument for why you should stay where you are. But the difference is that you learn how to recognize her faster, and recognition gives you a choice. So, honestly, I'm actually grateful that I even had this experience so that I can actually have this conversation with you to really help you understand why she keeps showing up. Because understanding this is actually what separates the woman who keeps going from faith to faith, okay, and glory to glory, right? From the woman who just quietly stops at the last threshold and calls it contentment. Your nervous system is wired for survival. Every time you push a new edge, a bigger opportunity, a bolder take on a post, an increased rate, a room you've never been in before, your nervous system registers this as a threat simply because it is unknown. And the good girl sob story, okay, is a story that your nervous system tells you in order to justify pulling back. Initially, she sounds like, okay, who do you think you are? But at your present, she sounds more like, is this really aligned? Is this the right timing? Maybe I should wait until I'm more ready. The realm of your soul, which is the realm of your mind, your will, and your emotions, is a very sophisticated network, okay? I mean, God designed it, so of course it is, okay? But as you grow and evolve, so does the good girl. She upgrades her vocabulary. She sounds like discernment. She sounds like wisdom. She even sounds like strategic patience. But the function is the same: to keep you inside the territory where you are already known and safe. Proverbs 29 verse 25 tells us that the fear of man lays a snare. At your level, the snare looks like reasonableness. It looks like not rushing. It looks like not going before God, knowing your season. And really the only way to tell the difference between genuine discernment and sophisticated self-preservation, okay, let's call it what it is really to ask a question, which is, okay, am I pulling back because God said wait? Or is this because my nervous system said stranger danger? When you can answer that question honestly and actually act on the answer, even when your body is reeling, okay, that is you being bigger than her, and that is the work. David danced before the Lord with everything he had, full, wild, unedited, and Michal watched from the window, composed, dignified, disgusted. She called it shameful. God called it worship. The question isn't whether you'll be criticized for being fully yourself. The question is, whose window have you been performing for? Because right now, there is a version of you quoting lower prices, crossing your own boundaries, and editing the boldest thing God called you to say. And she has been running your business long enough. Join me for Undignified. Lay the good girl to rest. It's free, 5 days, April 20th through the 24th. This is not a ladies' prayer brunch. This is a memorial. RSVP for the service. Scan the QR on the screen or click the link below. So what do you do in the moment? Okay, so when the opportunity is in front of you, when the thoughts are loud, when your body is buzzing, and the good girl is literally staking her claim, making a convincing argument for you to pull back, first, I want you to name her as a pattern interrupt. The moment you say, okay, you know what, this is good girl conditioning, okay, she loses the power of invisibility, because recognition is actually the first act of authority, because you cannot confront something you have not named or identified. Second, I want you to ground yourself in your known. So first, ground yourself in your body. So while breathing deeply, I want you to look around and label the things in your surrounding, like that's the TV, that's the microwave, okay? And I also want you to declare your known. So not a generic affirmation, but a specific known. So the word of God, okay? Also what he put in you, what you have already built, and what you've already proven. And side note, if you have a win list, having a win list and reviewing it is perfect in these moments, because your nervous system needs evidence and not necessarily encouragement, okay? And so you want to give it something concrete to anchor to. Third, I want you to take the next right step. For me, with my experience on Tuesday, that actually meant continuing to complete the process even while my body was buzzing, and not waiting until I felt ready, okay? It was me moving while the resistance was still present. And this is actually what rewires the pattern. Action in the presence of fear, and not action in the absence of it. And we have to remember that Romans 12:2 instructs us to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Renewal is not a moment. It is a process, okay? It's a process built one threshold at a time, and every edge that you move through weakens the old wiring and strengthens your new state. And so I want you to know that the assigned woman, the woman of wild wealth, is the woman who keeps elevating. Not because the good girl never visits her, okay? But it is because she's able to keep elevating, because she has been able to clock her. She's been able to clock the visit in real time, name her, ground herself, and move anyway. So if this landed, the link to Undignified is in the description. It is my free series designed to help you say RIP, baby, to the good girl, because your peace, authority, and God-authored abundance is no longer negotiable. Because regardless, the good girl is going to show up at your next threshold, okay? But the question is whether you will be equipped to actually move past her when she does. So, founder, I want to say thank you for your time today. And remember, you can be palatable, or you can be a woman of wild wealth. Bye for now.